Hey, just a quick update on what we're seeing on the streets here in the Greater Toronto and Golden Horseshoe area when it comes to rental properties. So right now, rent rates are blowing our minds. North of Toronto, we just had someone rent out a 3-bedroom, single-family home with a single-car garage, and they rented that. We were gonna try and get $3,500. They were gonna be happy with $3,000 a month. We were gonna try and get $3,500. We ended up getting $4,000 a month for that property, and 2 different tenants were willing to pay for a year in advance. So we got much higher rent than we were expecting, and we got a full year's worth of rent paid upfront in advance. So that was in Maple, Ontario, just north of Toronto. And then if you go around the lake in St. Catharines, we're seeing rent prices there that are shocking us. We just had a single family home rent, a 3-bedroom single family home rent out there, a bit larger bungalow kind of style for $3,250 a month. We have never seen that price point happen in St. Catharines before. Only about 5 or 6 years ago, we would be renting out houses like that for about $1,900, $2,000, maybe $2,100. To see $3,200 now out in St. Catharines is just blowing our mind. And then also out in St. Catharines for duplexes or legal second suites, where you're renting the top floor of a house out and then legally renting out the basement, we're seeing big numbers on there too. We're seeing over $2,000 a month, like $2,200 or so on the top floor, and about $1,800 or $1,900 on the lower floor. So this doesn't apply to all houses. It has to be in good condition, space matters, but we've never seen these prices before in St. Catharines. And now if I flip back a little closer to Toronto and Hamilton, back this way around the lake, Lake Ontario, in Hamilton, we have a real estate investor that we've been working with for some time who is getting over $5,000 a month on a single family home because they're renting it out as a legal second suite. So the top floor, they're getting $3,000 something and over $2,000 a month for the basement. So they're getting over $5,000 a month on one single family home. And we thought that might have been a bit of a fluke because it was a bit of a larger home. The first time they did it was a 4-bedroom on the main floor. And then they did it again on another property in Hamilton and got $5,000 again on another property. So we're seeing the rental demand be super strong in this area. And part of the reason for that is just the demand and the population growth here is really high and the supply has not kept up. And I just want to comment on one other thing. The real estate market kind of ebbs and flows, right? It goes up sometimes really quickly, it cools off a little bit. Sometimes it's kind of always moving around. The interesting part over watching the real estate market now for 20 and 30 years is that it doesn't matter what phase the real estate market is in. When you have supply demand numbers in the Toronto area that are so out of whack, where the demand is so high and the supply of new properties coming online is so low, that you always have strong demand. So even if the market's in one of its cooling cycles, you get super strong rental demand because during those times the market might be cooling a little bit, is perhaps the banks are making it a little bit harder to get financing. Interest rates are going up. Maybe the way they're looking at credit is a little different. So the real estate market cools, but in those environments, people still need a place to live. So in the starter home category, so that could be a starter home like a townhome, a semi, even a single family home, depending on what part of the Greater Toronto Golden Horseshoe area you're in, you always get incredible demand for properties, even if the market's cooling a little bit. So when the market's kind of going up, you get strong tenant demand because of the supply and demand numbers are just out of whack. Not everybody can get a property. Some people turn to renting. And even when the market's cooling, you get really high demand and often, strangely enough, stronger tenant demand if the market's cooling because some people can't qualify to buy, but they still need a place to live. So your tenant demand gets stronger, you get better quality tenants, and rents during those times don't follow the property prices. They actually stay strong. They might plateau for a little bit, and then they trend upwards. And that's been our experience kind of watching the real estate market over the 30 years now. So hopefully you find that useful.